Welcome to the Circuit of Success Podcast.
The Circuit of Success Podcast.
With your host,
Brett
Gilliland.
Brett Gilliland, Visionary Wealth Advisory.
The Circuit of Success Podcast. Let's start the show.
Welcome to the Circuit of Success. I'm your host, Brett Gilliland. Today, I can't believe it, we're 6 months into F to the 6 podcast. So that's crazy. Our faith, our family, our fitness, our firm, and our finances, and our fun of what we've been talking about. And so we've led off with you, Scott, each month with our faith. And so catch us up in the last month. How's it going? The first month of summer.
Excited to be here. Excited to get going again. Just a great group. It's a lot to learn from this podcast from each and every person, and I enjoy listening to it. So
Awesome. Hard truth about faith you think that most people don't want to hear.
Yeah, hard truth. So we've got a minute for a story. So let's jump in. So I was thinking about this too, and it's funny that that's your question to me, but just speaking of truth in the Bible and in our faith, and I was thinking, imagine a society where it's just built on truth and there's no love. Okay, every mistake is exposed, every failure is punished, every weakness is met with condemnation. Right? It would be a tough society. And there's a story in the Bible in John 8. The gospel, we've talked about the gospels and downloading the Bible app, and the gospels are a biography of Jesus. And so there's a scene where this woman is caught in adultery, and the religious leaders want to stone her because that's what the law says, and the truth would be they would be correct. And Jesus steps in, just offers a better way, and he asks, if you're without sin, you cast the first stone. And all these religious leaders know that they're in the wrong and drop their stones and walk away. And he doesn't leave her there. He, protects her and doesn't leave her there, but then he also tells her to go and sin no more. That's the truth. But his love protected her, and then the truth of him said, go and sin no more. And so I think it's important for us just to think through the truth and the love, and we talk about faith. I think oftentimes it's easy to gravitate, each person's different, but gravitate to either the truth side or the love side. And Jesus does a great job, as he's perfect, balancing both truth and love in our culture.
I like it. So talk about how do you play that out in your life?
I probably gravitate more towards truth side, and I need to be more compassionate and show more love and be more understanding. And so I think that it's just being self-aware, where each individual person tends to fall.
We could get Mia. She's just 15 feet down the hallway. We could bring her over here and talk about it.
My lovely wife. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think it's a deeper concept. It's deeper thoughts, but I think it's important for us to understand that, hey, it's not just, if we looked at, I have a 4-year-old son. If my 4-year-old son was going to run out into a busy intersection, the truth and the love would be that I step in and save him from that, right? I don't let him just do what he wants to keep doing, right? And so I think it's understanding that sometimes those two go hand in hand as well. So,
where do you see people fooling themselves spiritually?
Ooh, wow, that's a good one. I think that sometimes it's easy just to go through the motions of if you're already a person of faith, where we go to our place of worship on Saturday or Sunday, and we just go through these motions, but we're never developing any kind of relationship with Jesus. We need to be in prayer. We need to be in the Bible. The Bible is teaching us what his character is like, and spending time in prayer builds that relationship with him. And we've talked about in the past, prayer time is not just sharing our heart and where we're at in life, but it's also being in quiet, in silence, and listening as well. So
I've found too that's where you can eliminate a lot of chaos. So
100%.
Life is busy, right? And if you just slow down, then you can speed up. That's what I always think. Yeah. I'm sure you got some stuff to share there, but what's the challenge for every listener right now for their faith walk?
The challenge would be, I think, is just some of the stuff we've talked about, and I'll say something more specific for today and what we've just briefly touched on, but I just continue to encourage everyone to either get a physical Bible or download the Bible app and get into that every day. Whether it's, again, taking 5 minutes and reading one of the plans in the Bible app, or reading a chapter in one of the Gospels of the Bible, A chapter, if you're not familiar with the Bible, a chapter is about a 2-minute read. So it takes minimal time, but you can learn a lot there. And then for today, I would just say, spend some time being introspective on yourself and trying to understand, do I tend to lean more to the truth side of things, or do I tend to lean more to the love side of things? And then thinking through how you can balance that out better.
Yeah. So talk about right now it's kind of, vacation season for everybody, right? So again, you talk about going through the motions, and I think it's tough. If you're not at home, you probably have your rituals, you've got your Bible set in there, you've got your church, all the different things that you can go do in your faith journey. What's vacation look like for you, and how do you continue to develop that while you're gone away from your home?
Yeah, so we're going to leave tomorrow morning for a little trip up to Chicago for a baseball tournament, and so we're going to be out of routine, right? And so for us, it'll be, as I mentioned, back in January and February, and we're all still doing it. We're doing a plan in the Bible. Well, every day it's got a new thing for us to read, a new thing for us to listen to, and just better understand the Bible. And I think that being in that and having something that's just there to help you along is very, very impactful.
Yeah, so that's when they're doing that. You're on vacation. You can do it together.
Absolutely,
right?
and we often do it together. Like my older son and I are often in the car together, and he'll say, "Dad, I haven't read X, Y, and Z yet today. Can we listen to it in the car?" And so we'll listen to it as we're going to a practice or going to a game or something. So yeah,
it's awesome. Anything else you want to share there?
Nope.
All right, Scotty, thanks so much. Appreciate you sharing on the faith. Dan Laurie, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. How was the last month?
Last month was good. We were down in Texas, had a little soccer down there. We're getting ready to leave tomorrow. We have a tournament called Super Copa down in Florida.
Wow.
So we're going to be down in Sarasota. My middle son is playing, and so we've got 4 or 5 days of soccer and then 4 or 5 days of vacation.
That's awesome.
So it's kind of funny you were talking about routine. I am actually going to stay in my routine because down in Texas, my morning routine was not very good. And so I said, Florida, I'm going to keep my morning routine and just keep it the same because that's part of my challenge today. I just find I'm better when I've got my morning routine, when I keep it, when I do those things, I'm better and I show up better for my family.
Are you going to share that later, or do you want to share it now, kind of what that routine even is?
Yeah, I think it's just the awareness around how your best days begin. So Matthew Kelly had this line, how do your best days begin? And then how many days the next 90 days are you going to start that way? So for me, I get up, I do devotionals, I do Bible reading, and then I do a workout. And I think this morning I had a 7 a.m. meeting, so I got up at 4. And it just gives me like 2 or 3 hours in the morning where I have my time. You know, I get to just be better for my family and show up. So you get on an airplane, what do they tell you to do first, right? You have kids with you. They say put your oxygen mask on first, and then you can put it on them. And so I think it's the same concept. If I'm waking up at the same time as my kids, I haven't had any time to reflect or anything like that. You know, you always had this concept of feed the positive dog.
Yep.
Right? And so how are we feeding that before our family gets up so we can show up for them?
Love it. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Just like I said, hard truth. A lot of us are going to have these questions about the hard truth today. And so what's that hard truth for you about marriage and parenting that you've learned?
I think you've got to give of yourself a lot, right? I used to do a lot of things. We traveled, played beach volleyball. I used to play poker. I used to play billiards. I used to do a lot of these things, these extracurriculars. And I just found that if I want to spend as much time with my family as possible and have a good relationship there, that I've got to give up some of those other things. And so, again, I think if you're going to have a good marriage and good relationship with your kids, you have to give of self a lot. And so we were talking about, you know, pride and things like that too. It's like I have to, you know, humble myself a lot because I can get prideful. And Scott was talking about truth and love. I think sometimes in my family, I can be even shorter with them and show them a little bit less love. I can show you guys a lot of love, right? But then I want to go to truth with my family. And so I think humbling yourself, taking your pride down and thinking about love with your family a lot too.
That's great. What's the thing that you think that right now, us as parents, everybody in this room, that you're going to look back 20 years from now and you see these parents and we're worrying about it today, but probably in 20 years is not going to matter?
I don't know. I think Tim and I talked about this a number of years ago, time. I think his family was out of town, and he's like, I was just so aware of time because right now with our family, there's a schedule, and you're just so on it all the time. And so I think things just seem like a bigger deal than they are. Maybe it's sometimes their behavior. I get on them about little things too. And so we've got to be on time. We've got the structure and all these things. It's like trying to figure out what's a big deal and what's not. I'm probably going to look back and say, man, I wish I would have hugged him more and not made things such a big a deal as I do now.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. We're going to be on vacation next week, and we're missing 2 baseball games, and I'm the head coach, right? And so the years past, we went summer after summer after summer of like, we have the flexibility to do it, right? But we can't because of our kids' schedule. And I think for me, I've learned, as it's my 4th one, so I've seen it so many times, that it's okay if you miss a baseball game or 2, right? And I know that you can argue about commitment, and you're on a team, you commit. So I don't know. We're going to see if it works. If it doesn't work, well, I guess we'll change it. But that's for me, the learning is something about you, Jay, with, the kids. I mean, have you dealt with that as well?
Yeah. It's hard because, again, you feel committed to the team, but, at the same time, it's hard you want to prioritize family, right? Because, we're playing 50 baseball games. If they miss a game, is that really going to matter in the big picture versus the memories, that we had? We just took a vacation, and, my son will never forget his first, experience deep sea fishing as opposed to one of the 50 baseball games that he played this summer. So.
Right.
Yeah, because we talk about that. We said it a lot. You only get 18 summers with them, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
And you still get time with them, but, yeah, it's tough.
That Morgan Wallen song, 7 Summers or whatever it's called, came on. And so I went to my phone and looked at 7 summers ago. Man, I'm like, holy crap. I mean, you look how little the kids are and the things you were doing at that point. It was really cool. But
yeah, Tim's daughter's here, right? And she's out at school in California. And so you think about that. She comes home for the summer, but she's gone 9 months out of the year. So you just, time changes.
Yeah. Yeah. How old are you?
19.
She's 19. So you think about Visionary started 12 years ago. So she, 7 years old when it started. Asher was -1 month when it started. And, so I don't know, it is wild, man, that the time flies. Yeah. What do you think families will regret too late? It probably is going on what we're talking about right now, but what do you think that they will regret later in life?
I mean, you hear a lot of people who are older, they talk about, the time that they spent working, they wish they would have spent that more with family. So I think you and I have talked about having guardrails around when you go to work, when you get off work, kids' sports games, all the extracurriculars, because that's the stuff, if you miss out on that now, you can't get it back. So I think that's probably one of the biggest ones, is being intentional with your time now so you get to spend it with kids. And if you have the ability to build your schedule like that, I would encourage you to do it.
Yep. Stuff you want to share this month?
Yeah, my main thing was just, again, reflecting on how do your best days begin. And again, he says in there is people don't have this idea of how their best days begin. They've never really sat down and thought about it. So that, for me, it's a workout, doing my devotional, Bible reading, and journal. For other people, it could be taking their shoes off and walking outside in the grass. It could be going for a 45-minute walk. I mean, it looks different to everybody, but having time, in my opinion, before your kids get up to where you can reflect and be better for them, for me, it's been such a staple. When I was out of town, I didn't do that, and it was a big change. And so what I'm going to do on vacation is I'm going to get up and have my time before the kids get up so I can be better. I function better that way, and I find that a lot of high performers do as well.
Yeah, I know you're going to agree with this, but wouldn't you agree that the first step for that, to somebody listening, though, is to define what is winning the morning?
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
So how do you do that?
Probably takes evaluating some different things, trying some different things. For me, that morning routine is tweaked over time, and so this is what it is now. There's a book called Savers where that guy Hal Elrod talks about that. So I used that initially, but then it's just shifted over time. So you got to just try something and do it, and then see if it works or not, and then tweak it from there.
Yep. Yeah, I think too. It's sitting down with a piece of paper, right, and an ink pen, and writing down, this is what I think it's going to be, and don't expect it to be perfect. Right? I always say progress over perfection, because if we get up and we do it, I don't care what it is.
Yep.
You just go do something, you're going to be a lot better off. Dan Laurie, thanks so much, my man.
Yep. Thanks, man.
Jay Baldus, how we doing?
Doing great.
Welcome back from vacation. Your son caught a big fish.
Caught a big fish. Biggest out of
a big
12.
Fish, right? He got the biggest one?
He got the biggest one out of 12
I can't
of us
wait
fishing,
to talk about that with Joe, man. And he got to take it home and grill it and eat it.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So same kind of line of questions for you, Jay. What's the hard truth people need to accept before they actually change?
Yeah, I think the hard truth is that it is a choice, right? I think a lot of people just say, well, this is who I am, or, I don't have the right genes, but, when it comes to your fitness, it really is a choice. And, I think we all have excuses, right? And it's the same internal conversation. Well, I'll start on Monday, or I'll start after vacation or after the holidays. And, there's always an excuse, but there's never a perfect time,
Right.
regardless of what that is in life. And so it's just, you have to acknowledge that it's up to you. And, when you make that choice, and that's really the first step. So
Mano a mano.
I started mine, journey, if you will, on December 18th of 2024. I could have waited, a few
January
weeks.
1st, yeah.
And, knowing that the holidays are upcoming and a lot of food and sweets and everything else, but it was almost easier because I had a plan going in and had made that decision ahead of time. So
That's awesome. New Year's resolution that stuck. What's a fitness lie people keep telling themselves?
A fitness lie. I think that a lot of people think it's about a program, right? And it's not. It's not about a diet. It's not about the gym or any program. It's an internal decision, and again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you just have to make that decision and attack it, right? Whatever that is. So a lot of people are just looking for some magic solution to it, and there are a lot of great programs out there. I'm not saying that those can't help, but that's not what it is. It's really more internal. So
Well, I think too, you agree with this, is it's like a financial plan. You got to have a financial plan to get where you're going. You got to have a fitness plan. And I think for me, for years, it was, I can go to a gym and I can see every piece of equipment there is, but then I had no idea what to do, right? And it's like, it's just overwhelming. And then it's like, well, I don't even know what to do. So I found for me, it's just, if you tell me what to do, then I can go do it. Yeah. And so you got to build that plan. And so whether that's hiring a coach, going online, going to AI, there's a million ways that you can do that right now. So kind of along the theme that I asked Scott about, your deal on a vacation. What's a vacation workout? Having just get back from one, how did you do on vacation? How can you help our listeners with that?
So I think for me, because I've been very consistent with being in routine, for me, I actually took a little vacation from the fitness, right? Mm-hmm. So I did a lot of the things consistently still, so I still got my walks in, but I took a vacation from tracking, right? Mm-hmm. So on the diet side to it, I know what I need to be eating, but I just took a break. So for 6 days, I didn't log any food, right? And but I did, get my steps in. I was doing, full body workouts. I was at a place where I didn't have access to a gym. So, so I think that's okay, right?
So you stayed working out.
Yeah.
It also probably helped that you had fitness people there too, right?
Too.
People in shape that were that prioritize that. So it's who we surround ourselves with, right? What's the challenge this month? What can we help every listener commit to?
So the challenge last month was stretching. This month, I said put sit-ups and push-ups to try to do 100 a day. If you can do 100 in a row, great. If you have to break it up and do 5 sets of 20, then do that.
Can you do 100 push-ups in a row?
I'm sorry, did I say push-ups? I meant sit-ups. I'm sorry. We did,
okay, I was going to say 100 push-ups in a row is pretty good.
Doing sit-ups. My apologies. Yeah,
just paying
crunches.
attention.
Yeah, that'll be next month, Ted. Although I did do 50 on my 50th birthday.
There you go.
Yeah, in a row. So
without stopping.
Yeah. I do have another thought, though, just, when I think about transformation, so I wrote this down. I think it occurs in stages, and I talked a little bit about this, and the first is awareness, right? So it's recognizing those internal conversations that we always have, and just recognizing that, call it a problem, or, you're not happy with your level of fitness, just to acknowledge that, right, first and foremost. And second is responsibility, right? Just knowing that no one's going to do it for us, right? It's up to us. So no one's coming to save us, to make sure we're, taking care of ourselves from a fitness perspective. And then the third is commitment, and not the kind where you you stick your toe in the water, but it's burn the bridges. This is what I'm doing, and moving forward. Yep. So, for a lot of people, they might be at the stage of awareness first, right? And just stop making excuses. So,
right.
Like I said, there's always an excuse. There's never a perfect time. And still this, Dan mentioned Matthew Kelly, but he talks about, a lot of people say, well, I'm too old, right? So I started when I was 49, and Matthew Kelly, mentions that Mother Teresa started her mission in Calcutta when she was 40 years old.
Yep.
And Winston Churchill, was prime minister at 65 and picked a fight with Hitler, and Benjamin Franklin was 79 when he invented bifocals. So
yeah. It's crazy.
It doesn't matter where you're at in life.
Dom Perignon, wasn't that in the story?
Yeah.
He was like in his 70s when he created the champagne.
Right.
It's pretty nuts.
So anyway,
awesome.
Stop making excuses. If it's important to you and you want to make a change, then that's the first step, and then take responsibility and commit.
I think too, for you, I think I've seen it that you don't need the accountability. But I think talk a little bit about to that person, give advice to somebody that maybe needs the accountability. Like, what can they do there?
Yeah, I think I can tell you when I've been most consistent, in working out, it's having a partner, an accountability partner, whether that's a coach or, for years it was my brother-in-law. We always, met at the gym at 5 a.m. and, there were a lot of mornings I didn't want to wake up and get to the gym, but I knew he was going to be there waiting for me. Yeah. So that's really important. And, I had to call a client of mine this morning. He stayed with me several weeks ago. He's like, man, you're really fit. And I hadn't seen him in a while. And, he called me the other day and was asking questions. So I told him, I laid out a bunch of stuff for him. And then he called me this morning and had a question. And so I told him we'd have a weekly check-in. But he's committed. He's already at that point. He mentioned seeing a picture of himself at a pool party, and he just felt disgusted with what he saw. And he goes, I'm going to make a change. And so he's already passed that awareness part and taken responsibility. And now, I know he'll do it because he's committed. And,
right.
So I'm going to try to be there to help him along the way.
It's awesome. Great. Yep. Glad we talked about it. Thanks a lot, Jay.
You got it.
All right. Fun. Ted McNulty, how we doing?
We're doing great.
Awesome.
And before you start peppering me with questions, I think I mentioned last episode about that surprise party that we're going to be doing for the retirement party. Huge success. Bob, just as a quick refresher, Bob was at our club, and he was a maintenance gentleman, and he's been there for over 20 years. And if you've seen the movie Caddyshack, the actual retirement party that they had was almost like the Caddyshack pool, where it's open from 12 to 12:05. Not a lot of people were able to celebrate Bob's, big heart and kindness and all the dedication. And so we put together a small team of members and rallied and had a massive party, and everybody was like, what's going on in the men's grill? And he was tickled pink, and he was there from 4:30 to 10:30.
Wow.
Bob's goodie bag was full. He was happy with that. But anyway, it was one of those where we took the initiative, kind of a little bit out on a limb, and everybody had an amazing time, especially Bob, which was the man of the hour. But it's one of those things where we talked about just taking the brass rings and making a little bit of a risk move because you're not sure if this is going to go over well or not. When I was sitting there with Bob at 4:30, and I was thinking, man, if only 2 or 3 people show, this is not going to be fun. But it turned out to be about 50, 60 people.
Wow. It's awesome. Well, I think too, it's just there's purpose and a plan there, right? Versus just throwing something on the calendar, and you gotta talk, right? You gotta make things happen.
Organize.
And, it's Swing for Hope is this Friday. By the time this airs, it'll be in the past, but it's just that thing, right? You got to constantly reach out. Casting for hope. I mean, you got to reach out. You got to make things happen. So, on the fun, again, hard truth. What's the hard truth about happiness that you've learned over the years?
Well, I mean, it's going to sound like a broken record, but the hard truth is that what's fun for you might not be fun for somebody else. So you just got to take the initiative and steer your own boat in that direction of what is fun for you.
Yeah.
That's a hard truth. I also think that people think it's harder than it really needs to be, like that party for Bob. I mean, people are like, oh my gosh, that was great. It was so much fun. It really only took maybe 5 emails and just reminders. I will say what was really fun is they sent me a few pictures of Bob, and AI is very creative.
Oh, yeah.
I had him, he likes to fish, he likes to play poker, and he almost looks like Santa Claus. I did learn you cannot use AI for Santa Claus.
Oh.
It'll block you because apparently that's copyrighted or something. So you just have to say, can you put Bob in a red suit in the snow? There's ways to get around it. But anyway, it was a blast. We had those all over the room. And
that's cool.
Anyway, so some organization and planning and all of that kind of fun stuff.
What do people keep chasing? Why do people keep chasing the next achievement, hoping it will make them happy, you think?
Well, we were talking about this morning in Bible study. It's kind of interesting that everybody's trying to fill a gap and try to find the actual solution. That's why I think that we're, as human beings, we're constantly searching and trying to find meaning.
Yeah.
And I think that Scott actually kind of hits on what the meaning should be in life, and that's our faith.
Yeah.
So once you have that, I think that you're a little bit more satisfied, and you're not always searching, and you're just happy with what you actually have going on, whether that's family trips or baseball or all that.
Yeah, I think too. It made me think. Last week SpaceX went public. Elon Musk became the first trillionaire, and you've heard this. Even when he was worth $850 billion, they said, why do you continue to work? And I think for him, obviously I've never met Elon Musk. It's fun, right? And he's got a mission and he's got a purpose. And I think to your point is define what fun is. And if that's a lot of work, like I probably, if I had $850 billion, may not be working. Right?
Yeah.
But Elon is, and he's still doing it. And so what's that like for you? Because you love what you do for a living. What's that going to be like for you later in life?
Well, I think I will be working a long, long time. I have no desire to retire. It is interesting when we're working with individual clients when they say, I want early retirement.
Right.
I said, you know what? You want to be able to retire early. I don't know if you really want to retire early, meaning that you want to have enough financial resources to be able to if you actually want that decision. But for me, going forward, I enjoy what I'm doing. I really like working with individual people to help them succeed in their retirement. I love the camaraderie and the culture that we have at Visionary. So across the board, maybe further down the road, grandchildren. I'm at the age right now where a lot of my friends are having a flurry of grandchildren, and that looks very appealing. As you know, I have 3 kiddos, and nobody's married, and we just lost one boyfriend. Sorry, Hattie. And well, actually, she's the one that pulled the trigger. So sorry, Nate. Nate was great. No longer Nate is great. Anyway, so point being is one of my clients just sent me a picture of his family vacation, and they have 9 under 9.
Oh, wow.
9 grandchildren under 9. And they went to Branson. Again, that is fun.
Yeah.
And they were so nice to send me all the pictures of the kids and what they were doing. And so that chapter might be exciting and fun for me, but that's down the road.
Yeah. What about for people that they think, oh, it'll be fun one day when I accomplish X, right? Because I think we're all very goal focused. And when I get this thing, maybe it's a car, maybe it's a certain amount of money, maybe it's a house, maybe whatever. Like, what advice do you have for them is how do you enjoy life? How do you have fun and enjoy the journey before the big accomplishments happen?
Well, and I think that once you actually get to those big accomplishments, you realize that there's another big accomplishment. So I think you just have to be happy with what you have. It's great to have goals and aspirations, but I think that one of my dear friends and clients hit a huge milestone financially, and he's like, you know what? It's kind of interesting because like that's great. I should be happy, but I want more. Yeah. I want more. And he's not greedy. It's just I think that's how we're built. And I think that's society as a whole. So, what is fun for us is to kind of reflect on how lucky we are and how blessed we are with what we have currently. So that next step is not such a big, if it happens, it happens. It's great to have goals and objectives and ambitions, rather. But I think it's more fun to just kind of say, okay, what we have is great and let's enjoy it.
Yep, absolutely. Any homework you want to leave with our listeners?
Have fun.
All right. Ted McNulty, thank you, sir.
See ya.
Tim, how we doing?
Good afternoon. Hello.
We'll talk a little bit about Firm. You got your daughter sitting here. How's that feel?
It feels amazing. My daughter is helping me this summer with consulting work for my charity, and so we're going to do some work after this meeting.
Awesome.
But she's doing a fantastic job.
Just got done with the first year of college.
Done with the first year of college. Going to be a sophomore in a wonderful school, Thomas Aquinas College in California.
They're inviting you back for your second year?
They are.
They're inviting her back.
Yes. She had a very successful first year, which is a big deal. Did not get homesick. It's a beautiful area. And so looks different than St. Louis, Missouri.
And she learned that she likes living with some girls and having some friends besides her brothers in the room.
Yes. The only daughter in the family. So now she has other girls to socialize with. And that's a very big deal.
Awesome. Hard truth for you about leadership that most people discover too late.
I think the hard truth is that it's not all about us as leaders. I think we need to put pride, ego aside. We can get wrapped up, or sometimes I think that I'm making this massive impact on an organization. It's things that I'm doing. It's about me. And I think the honest truth is, when I'm gone, people would end up forgetting about me probably in a week, and that might be long. It could be 1 or 2 days. So it's never about us. I think it's interesting. You think of great organizations in St. Louis. We have some very successful companies in St. Louis, major Fortune 500 companies, Anheuser-Busch, Bayer, Monsanto, previously Monsanto, different companies. And if you ask who was their CEO 10 years ago or who was their CEO 15 years ago, I'm sure when that man or woman was the CEO, they're very powerful and they're very intelligent and influential and successful. But as soon as they're gone, I mean, people forget about that. Yeah. So I can't think I'm all that important. So hard truth is it's not about me. Put pride and ego aside.
I love it. Where do we, as leaders, unintentionally hold ourselves or the organization back?
I think it's two parts. Fear of failure. And I think what goes hand in hand with that is not thinking big enough. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think we can think bigger. I just heard this speaker talk this past week, and his whole philosophy was chasing failure. He's constantly chasing failure. And he said what failure wants you to do, it wants you to stop. It wants you to really face some very negative emotions. Could be despair, could be lack of confidence, it could be self-esteem. And if it's really good, failure wants you to move backwards. So to release the grip of failure, move forward, chase failure, move forward.
I love that.
Yep.
What do the best leaders do that the average leaders avoid, do you think?
I think they give feedback and communicate feedback real time. Even if it's difficult, I think they do it with respect, and you can do it in a respectful manner. It doesn't need to be aggressive. I don't think it needs to be confrontational, but they will give feedback real time and deliver it with respect.
Yeah. I had this conversation last night with someone, and this person she was 36, and I think about belief and just doing something and doing it without the fear of failure. And she's really good at creating and hosting events, and she has this fear, like it's kind of like that, was it the imposter syndrome, right? Where it's like, who am I to think that I can throw an event, people are going to come to this event, they're going to pay money to be here. It's like, and this is for you as well, Katie, like what advice would you have for somebody like in that part of their life to just do it, say screw it and just do it? What thoughts do you have there?
Well, I mean, it sounds so cliche and it sounds so simple to this phrase that you said, just do it. Because I always think about the consequence. If it's business, if it's health, if it's personal life, relationships, well, what's the consequence? So in this example, I think you said a person might have an event planning talent, and they plan an event, and in the most literal sense, let's say 2 people show up, and maybe they were hoping there could be 20 or 30 or 50. Well, for those 2 people, it is going to be a fantastic event, and she's going to give it her all. And then maybe a month later or a quarter later, 3 or 4 months later, she does a second event, and maybe 8 people show up. To the point that this speaker was talking about, chasing failure your way to success. And to your point, just do it, because the consequence is, well, maybe she bought a little bit too many extra supplies, whether it's food or beverage, right, to host an event. Mm-hmm. What else is the worst thing that can happen? Right. Ego, pride, self-esteem, self-worth.
Yep. Katie, thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it takes a while till you get comfortable realizing that when things that in these scenarios, there's no bad outcome. Maybe it doesn't go the way you want it to, but then you learn far more lessons and grit and determination from the things that don't go your way than you do from the things that do. And then maybe it goes great, and then you get the confidence boost that, hey, I do know what I'm doing. So it's hard to approach it from the perspective of, and I find myself saying this all the time, like, how are things? Oh, they're fine. I use this word fine all the time, but really it's all going to be fine. Either way, either it goes great or it doesn't. It's going to be fine. You're going to learn from it. You're going to do something different next time, or it's fantastic and you build from there. So, but it takes life experience, I think, to get comfortable with knowing that really is true. Yep.
Well, I think it's stepping outside of your comfort zone and not getting smacked across the face, right? Mm-hmm. And once you do that, then you just step out of it again and step out of it again. Tim, anything else before we let you go?
Nope, I think that's it.
Thanks a lot, Hammer. All right, finances. Katie, how we doing?
Good.
How was the last month of your life? Anything crazy going on?
Nothing crazy.
Everything's
Just
fine.
transition. That's right. It's all
Everything's
fine. Just
all fine.
transitioning to summer, so it's
It's
good.
all fine. Everything's going to be just fine. Hard truth question about money that most people need to hear.
I think the hard truth is it requires sacrifice. You're sacrificing something today for something in the future. And building, I think we've talked about this before, but building wealth is a math equation. All it is investing money and watching it grow. And in order for that to happen, though, you have to take action. And to take action requires the sacrifice. And I think people know that, but it can be really hard to do it because it may not feel comfortable because it's like, well, if I start saving money now, then maybe I can't do this. And so I'll do it later.
Right.
And then.
Well, too, is no matter what I don't care if it's $100 a month, right? Start somewhere.
Right.
$100 a month, $10,000 a month, start somewhere and build from there. What financial mistake do successful people in your eyes continue to make over and over again where you're kind of like, that's just, kind of bang your head against the wall? Like, how is this happening?
I think it is being consistent at putting money away. Because you can talk to your blue in the face about the best way to invest, in my opinion, is to routinely put money in the market. That way you don't have to care if the market's going up or down. If it goes down, great, because you're putting money in. And I think people think, oh, I'll try to time it. The market feels like it's, too high. I'm like, well, yeah, but people have been saying that for 2 years, and it's, look at what you would have missed out on over the last 2 years. So I think it's just developing that plan, being consistent, turning off the news, and just executing on it.
It's funny you say turn off the news. Literally where I was going with this is because the TV, all those people on there, there's no accountability from them, right? Mm-hmm. They just want to make you
take some sort of action. They're trying to create an emotion.
But they're also coming off of we already know who won the Cardinal game yesterday, right? We know if a stock went up or down, and now they're talking about it. But they make it want to seem kind of sexy and flashy when it's just really kind of the normal, mundane, boring things. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we always have CNBC on in the break room, and when I'm standing there making coffee or something, and I'm like, how can they possibly have something to talk about all day long? And they don't. So then they just create things, and then if you sit and watch it, it really can make you feel pretty bad about how things might be, or that you're missing out on something. It creates a lot of negative emotion, and that's not good.
So turn it off. Mm-hmm. What's one challenge this month you have for listeners?
So as I was thinking about summertime, I mean, we've all kind of talked about going on vacation or kind of a break from the routine. I think it's paying attention to those things that you find really bring you joy, bring you peace, refill kind of your emotional energy, and incorporating that into your life goals. So incorporating a plan for, I love to travel. So this is going to be something we are going to be deliberate about saving for, so that it's something that you're always working towards that's going to enhance your life.
Yeah. And everybody, you guys mentioned Matthew Kelly, and he talks about that. The biggest thing about life is traveling and opening the world, and that makes you think bigger because you're seeing things you're not used to seeing. So where's travel for Katie and family this week, or this month, or this summer?
So this summer we're going to Florida. So it's been a few years since we've been to the beach in Florida. It's hard to pass up on that, but we're talking about how, you just get to relax, get to go out to eat. It's pretty low stress, so it's pretty not
What part of Florida?
We're going to Destin.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great area. Best beaches in the United States, I think. Awesome. Anything else, Katie, you want to share?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Thanks so much for being with us, and thanks to everybody talking about our faith, our family, our fitness, our firm, our fun, and our finances. 6 months in of F to the 6 podcast, so thanks for listening.